I'm excited to be talking with both my dentists today, who I just found out moments ago are actually sisters in real life. I didn't realize that. I am with Dr. Kendra Zappia, Morgan Fryer,
Hello.
dentists at large. What's the actual D.D.S stand for?
Doctor of Dental Surgery.
Doctor of Dental Surgery.
That's
Thank
right.
you so much.
Yes.
Well, it's great to have you both on.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you because dental care, oral health, certainly an important component of any wellness routine. And it often gets separated, both from a policy standpoint, from a thinking standpoint in relation to primary health care. But the question I love to kick it off with every time, no matter who the guest is really, where were you born and where'd you grow up? And now that I know that you're sisters, maybe give each other notes on what it was like to grow up with each other.
Do you want to go first since
Sure.
you were born first?
Sure.
Yeah.
Since I remember more. We were born in Albany and we grew up in Mechanicville. And I was so excited to have a little sister. And I remember when my parents told me and my brother, who's in between us, that we were going to have a little sister. They bribed us with a Nintendo and a Nintendo game.
That's
and
original.
Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers. And they said, we're going to have a baby. It's going to be a little girl. And we were just so excited. And I loved having her.
I'm the
ever
baby.
since.
Gotta love me.
Yes. And so,
Are we talking original Nintendo or Super Nintendo?
Original.
Original Nintendo.
Like the kind you had to like blow into to get it to work, and then like
oh, yeah, with
shove
the
it,
cartridges?
and you like
Yes.
hit it a couple times.
yes.
So
Yeah.
what were your go-to games? You mentioned a couple.
I liked Super Mario Brothers,
Yeah.
the original. I did like Duck Hunt. I love Tetris.
Tetris.
Yes.
Totally.
Super Mario 2 and 3. And that was really it.
I know.
yes.
I love those original like gaming systems. So good.
Yes. Yes. But we had fun growing up.
Yeah.
So together. Yes.
Now, I grew up in Manchester, Vermont, not too far from the
Mhm.
capital region. I would come here as a kid. But for you both growing up here, what was that really like?
I don't think I realized how great it was until I moved away and then moved back. I wanted to get out of here when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And we went on a soccer trip to North Carolina, our soccer team, just for a week. And I called home every day, collect.
Yeah.
I was so sad. I missed my family so much. And then I realized I cannot go far away to school.
Did you have to
Yeah.
do like the payphone, like 1-800-COLLECT, that whole
Yes.
deal?
Yes.
Pager.
Yeah. My parents were like, we're not accepting any more calls at this point. But
We're busy.
yes.
No, I
Yeah.
agree. Like we're really fortunate for our family and how we grew up, and not just our family, but our community and our small little town. I agree. It's like we've gone away. Well, we didn't go very far for
No.
school. We both went to Siena College. But for dental school, we both went to Buffalo. Love Buffalo. But coming back home, like that's where we're meant to be.
So let me go back a minute because you just touched on dental school.
Mhm.
So I want to figure this out a little bit. What made you both interested in dentistry? And then what were those conversations like with each other that you were both mutually interested in it?
So I always liked going to the dentist. Our childhood dentist was great. He was in our community. We went to school with his children, played sports with them. He was just such a nice man, and I always had a great time there and had, good experience with the orthodontist, getting our wisdom teeth out. And in 8th grade, I had to write like what I wanted to become when I grew up. And the teacher said, like, whatever you write, you have to become. And so I put a lot of time and effort into it and wrote that I wanted to be a dentist. And I got my paper back and she wrote, like, I think you mean hygienist or assistant. And I was like, no, I mean dentist. I want to pull and drill and do all this. And she said, girls don't really do that. And our mom, she wanted to be a doctor. And she was told, no, women weren't doctors. So she became a nurse and she had a great career, but she always regretted it. And she told us that. And so after that, I was gung-ho on becoming a dentist. And the other teacher that was there told us her daughter was in dental school and that if she could do it, we could do it. So that's what I wanted to become. And then ever since that, that's what my path was, each step to prepare for the next step. And so I was a little bit ahead of in school. And so when I wrote that, we found something from Morgan's.
My kindergarten
Yes.
book, like about the offer that you'd put in the front of the book with your little class picture on it and a couple tidbits about you. I said I wanted to be a dentist too, probably looking up to my big sister.
Yeah.
But yeah, I worked at a pharmacy for a bit and considered going into pharmacy. But from helping out at the office however I could when you were just getting started, I enjoyed spending time with patients more than I would probably behind a counter at a pharmacy. Just like the artistry of it all. But I mean, pharmacists are like true geniuses. They know so much, but it just ended up being the better path for me.
So you mentioned your mom
Mm-hmm.
and having barriers to pursuing what she wanted to do. How does that feel for both of you to have pushed through those barriers for yourself and thinking about your own mom?
Well, her license plate is Mom D.D.S. She is so proud of us. But I know, I feel like she did so well. Both of our parents did
Mm-hmm.
so well. They sacrificed so much for us. They're amazing parents. And our mom was actually our school nurse, so she stayed home until I went to school and then became the school nurse at Mechanicville. But I agree, she had a great career.
Mm-hmm.
And she still is a nurse to
Mm-hmm.
us and takes care of everybody. But I think it was so special for her to see us both like go all the way.
Yes.
Yeah, my only real connection to dentistry is singing the dentist song from Little Shop of Horrors pretty regularly at karaoke.
Mhm.
It's one of
Yeah.
my favorite songs of any musical theater
Love it.
ever. Shout out to that movie too. Steve Martin killed it in
Yes.
that.
Yes.
But that kind of lends me to a question I wanted to ask you. So that song certainly makes fun of a lot of the traditional stereotypes of dentists and dentistry. And you've had a very intentional approach to how you treat patients, from blankets to all sorts of stuff. And I really wanted to ask you about that. Why is that so important to you in your practice?
I think it helps the patient ultimately. It's a scary thing to come and see us. It's intimidating. And that's what keeps people out of the dental chair a lot is fear and the anticipation and that it's a scary place and that we're going to judge you and, tell you everything you did wrong. I don't want that to ever be anybody's experience. We
Mhm.
want them to be comfortable, physically relaxed, whether it be, we get you numb, we give you nitrous, but just that they feel safe with us. And so those are some of the things that we offer: the blankets, the neck pillows, the hand mitts, our massaging chairs, all that stuff. But a lot of the dentistry part is psychological.
Mhm.
And so we want people to just feel at ease, and we don't want them to feel judged
Mhm.
or that we're going to shame them or anything like that. So putting them at ease can go a long way.
I think it's like the best compliment we get is that it's just not like your typical dental office. You don't
Yes.
walk in and get that smell that we all remember, like
Yes.
growing up in those like stiff dental environments. So I agree. It's just a way to make them feel like they're cared for from start to finish.
Yeah, I remember my dentist when I was a kid. We had a program growing up in Vermont that was a form of universal health care for children called Dr. Dinosaur. And thankfully, it allowed children. I grew up in a tougher economic situation at times on free reduced school lunch.
Mhm.
And so that program was invaluable to get basic dental care. But I went to a dentist that was great with kids. And so I actually didn't even know this. Do you work with kids or is it more
Mhm.
more adults?
Mostly adults, but we do see kids.
Okay.
We love to see kids. Yep.
Mhm.
Now, as parents yourselves, I wanted to ask you about that because you balance a lot, and you're both sisters, and you're both moms of 3 kids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, can you talk to me about that and what led you, first of all, to want to become a parent, and then what has that been like to balance those roles of motherhood while also building out your dental practice together?
Well, I like Morgan touched on, I love the way that we grew up. We had such great family memories together, like vacations, playing out in the
Mhm.
backyard, in the pool, just a close family
Mhm.
unit. And I always wanted that. And so I definitely wanted kids. I'd have more if I had the the manpower to watch all these kids and raise them and be able to spend time with them. But I knew I wanted to have 3 like our family is. And it it's a struggle to find that right balance of being able to give our business the amount of attention that it needs and
Mhm.
deserves, and then give the kids the same thing. But the nice thing about practicing with Morgan
Mhm.
is when I have something important for my kids, she'll come and
And
cover.
vice versa.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's a nice balance.
Agreed. And we're both lucky for the most part. We each work 3 days a week. Sometimes it's different, depends on the week and what's going on. So we both do have some time to be home with
Mhm.
our families or bring the kids to school, pick
Yep.
them up, whatever it might be. And it's nice to have that flexibility.
Yes.
This is a question I've always wanted to ask someone in dentistry, so I'm going to drop it on you.
Uh-oh.
Now, I love Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I'm pretty sure there's an episode where Jerry is dating a dentist, and she insists on examining his teeth to check oral health before she agrees to make out with them. So I wanted to ask you, with your respective spouses, what was that process like to give oral health evaluations before you decided that you were comfortable making any moves?
So I don't know if you did. I worked on my husband when I was in dental school.
Yeah.
So I got to inspect pretty closely.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't thinking, I apologize, Greg. He's missing an adult tooth.
Ah.
And so one of my children's missing an adult tooth. So he passed that on. So I did not screen very well for that. But no. But he's probably one of our biggest fans, but one of my toughest patients.
No.
Just getting him in the chair.
It's true.
So,
Just
yes,
because
getting
they're
in
always
there.
doing
Yes.
everything else.
Yes.
What's that saying about the
Shoemakers' kids have no
yeah.
shoes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing with
The
us.
dentist husbands don't have cleaning appointments.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So
True.
are there any moves that dentists might make? For example, like if you're out at a bar or a club and maybe there's a vibe with somebody, maybe they slip you a stick of gum or breath mints.
Listerine.
Like, is there a move if you're a dental professional and you're eyeing making a move, you slip them some mouthwash?
Seriously.
What's your move?
Maybe well, there's no moves now, but maybe you take like a selfie with them.
Yeah.
That way you can like check out their teeth like on
Yeah.
the low
There you go.
and do like a
okay.
little
Yeah.
check of it.
Yeah.
And then go to the bathroom quick and come back.
Yeah.
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 Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate the wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, let me go back to kind of the roles that you have. So you both have young kids.
Mhm.
And I know you were recently on maternity leave. You have a
Yes.
3-month-old.
Yes.
So as sisters working together, what's that type of communication like when you know each other's intimate family lives very well? What's that like day in and day out in the workplace?
We're always texting.
Yeah.
Like it never stops.
No. But I do think it helps because
Oh yeah.
I know where she's coming from. I know everything about her and about her family life.
What we've got going on.
Yes. And so it helps me help her or, help the office in a different way. Yeah.
Right.
And knowing about each other so intimately has, in my mind, been part of your business model in terms of really promoting yourselves on social media.
Mhm.
And shout out to a lot of our mutual friends
Yes.
and Danny,
Big
Kristen,
crew.
Yep.
Gabby,
Yep.
good
Awesome.
friends of mine and great content creators
Yeah.
as well.
Yes.
But I wanted to ask you, before we walked in,
Mhm.
you had mentioned to me that you used to be very anti-social media. So what changed and how did those discussions evolve for the two of you in deciding that was a way you wanted to tell your story?
So a long time ago, some of the team members wanted to do Facebook or Instagram.
Mm.
And I said, no, I don't want it. I don't think it's professional. Like we were taught in dental school, like to advertise.
Yeah. No commercials.
Yeah, it's cheesy and this and that. And I wanted patients to respect us and not see us doing things on social media and judge us and not think that we're serious about our dentistry. And so we had like a consulting group in that worked with us, that coached us and our team. And they said, it's not a bad idea. You can try it. And so we started at it little by little. And then
Very little by little.
Yes,
Like
yes.
one post a week or at most
yes.
was a big deal.
Yes, it was. And it's like neither one of us really had the time to do it
Right.
either. But people would
It's a good
come in and
job.
say, "Oh, I saw on your Instagram or Facebook you guys did this as a team together. That was great to see." And so then it got more involved, and then it got to the point where we didn't know how to do it,
Right.
and we didn't have the time to do it, and we needed some ideas. And then we hired Gabby, who's awesome, and she's totally revamped it. And people will say when we ask, "How did you find us?"
Yes.
They'll say on social media, and more often than not, or I Googled you guys, and
Yeah.
it's just brought in so many patients. And they also get a feel for our
Yes.
office, which is the important part. Because when I go somewhere new, I Google it or look
Yeah,
up their
you look them
social
up.
media, but they get a feel for what we're about.
And I think like existing patients just like to get to know us a little bit. I mean, I would like to know my providers more if I could. Usually visits are so quick, you don't really get that interaction. So I think they like to know what everybody's up to, not just us, but the whole
Yes.
team
Yes.
when we do like group bonding or whatever
Yes.
it may be. And I know some different providers might provide more like content in the sense of like, oh, this is what something is in dentistry, a crown or a bridge or implants. And at some point, I think we will get there. But for right now, it just feels like us just sharing like our day to day.
Yes.
I think it's awesome because I think about being a kid and having anxiety about even what my classroom would be like. And even like kindergarten, first grade, having anxiety about what school would be like. And I remember going to visit the classroom before the first day of school and getting a visual sense of where I would be sitting even. And as adults, we think about the anxiety that so many people have about whether it's working out in a group fitness environment, which we'll certainly talk about fitness, later on in the episode, but thinking about even going to the doctor or going to the dentist, it's real. It doesn't change as an adult. It just changes what you're worrying about. So the conversations you have with patients, do you find, you've been touched on a little bit, but you're finding that the way you're telling your story, you're doing your best, obviously, to do it organically and authentically, is helping you better break down those barriers of anxiety that people have about going to visit a dentist?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, instead of just jumping right into, okay, like, hi, I'm Dr. Fryer and this is what you need. Like, we try to take that time to sit down, talk to them, not even hop into like medical history at first. Just, where are you from? Did you grow up around here? What do you do? Just letting them feel at ease at first. And then it becomes a little bit easier to discuss that scarier side of thing, which is the dentistry.
Yeah, it was fun. Like in the conversations we had, I was basically like, well, I'm kind of this wacky guy who does Instagram stuff, like documenting my own fitness journey. And it's been a while since I've been to the dentist, need to work on some things. And
Here we are.
So we've actually talked a lot about fitness in our visits. And it's one of my favorite dynamics where we've talked about whether it's Orange Theory or metabolic or what advice to in terms of supplements and things like that. So I wanted to touch on your fitness journey as dentists, as medical professionals. How do you each approach your own personal fitness?
Yeah, so we both are members of Orange Theory, and I joined the Clifton Park location pretty soon after they opened in 2018. Actually, a dental hygienist that we work with introduced us to Orange Theory. And then you joined on, our husbands both joined on, and we've been going pretty faithfully ever since. Of course, life gets busy and the kids have made it a little trickier to get there, but it's all good. But I love the community feel. I've never been a part of a gym for as long as I have for Orange Theory. I've tried plenty of places locally out in Buffalo when we were in dental school, and it's just been the only place that's stuck. But in addition to that, I know we both have other supplemental workout methods. I'll work out at home when I can, on the bike, treadmill, go for walks or runs outside.
Yeah, so I've done a lot of Orange Theory workouts. For both of you, what have you liked about it?
I like the accountability. I have to have an appointment with somebody or commit to a class so that way I show up and wake up.
No late
and
cancel
get
hit.
there. No. I just like that it's all spelled out and I don't have to think about it, and I just show up and do it and
make friends along the way.
Make some good friends. The coaches are fun. And then I work out at Fitness Artist too. I have a trainer there and she helps me. I have like a weird arthritis. So she helps me with like flexibility and mobility and keeping me moving. But it's also a big mental aspect too, where I feel like I just feel better knowing that I worked out and that I moved.
So for people who are not familiar with the Orange Theory workout, it's different depending on the day that you're there and their specialty workouts. But the typical Orange Theory 60 workout, you'll do a combination of running, rowing, and then some work on the floor. Which one's your favorite out of those three?
I mean, I love the tread. We've both run a few marathons, so I love an endurance day on the tread.
I don't like any of it.
I like the weights too.
I like the floor. I like the floor. I do. I like the weights. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll ask you the question you've asked me, which might get you into trouble at the studio. Who's your favorite coach?
Oh, it's so hard.
I can say it's fine. I have three. I feel like I love Coach Julie, Coach Tony, and Coach Jackie. Sorry.
I love Coach Julie, Coach Kristen. I love Coach Amelia when I see her. And I do love Coach Jackie too. I just don't see her anymore because she's in Saratoga.
She's crushing it up there.
Yeah.
I mean, no doubt.
Honestly,
yeah.
She's one of the funniest humans
Yes.
I've ever met, period.
Best
And
energy.
she's just such a genius with coming up with fun gags to do on Instagram. And what I love, they're all great, but she has this fearlessness in my mind of just this total abandon. She'll commit to the bit.
Yes.
Like I was at the fitness expo with her and she agreed to be lifted up by Matthias McKinnon in like a fitness stunt. And the look of terror on her face was so good. But bless her heart, she went all in for it.
She's a rock star.
Yeah, she's awesome.
We had like two of my friends from dental school were getting married and we did a bachelor party for them. And we had her come to this house that we rented on Saratoga Lake and basically kick our butts one morning before we went out on a boat.
Easy.
I thought it was, not
We
going
thought
to
it
be
was going to
bad.
be laid back.
She kicked our butt. She like showed up at the Airbnb, like pounding on the door. And my friends still talk about it. They're still scared.
Yeah.
We're still sore.
She worked us.
She did.
Hard.
We earned
Yes.
everything that day.
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny too, because we've had some conversations about Orange Theory versus metabolic. And I love talking about this type of thing, like almost like crossfire political debate style, because I realize this is how real people assess all these things. Real people are thinking, well, should I do this or should I do that? And shout out to our mutual friend, Jess Niclario, who we've talked about a little bit, because obviously she used to coach at Orange Theory, now coaches in metabolic. And I just look at them as completely different things.
Yes.
They are very different workouts.
Yes.
And I know people at metabolic who do Orange Theory as well. And I've enjoyed Tread 50. That's the class that I really like, because my approach is, what does somebody do really, really well that no one else really does? Or for me is like the best and works for me. So with my running goals and how I've advanced as a runner, Tread 50 has been huge.
Yeah. I like that they added that on too.
Yeah. I need to get back into regularly doing it. I've kind of been focused more so on strengthen and lengthen. But the structure of that class is unlike any other. If you're really wanting to become a better runner,
Yes.
there's really nothing else like that around here.
Yeah, you can get some serious miles in on those classes.
You do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite like specialty workout? Because that's a lot of their thing too. And again, specialty workout, it's something that Orange Theory does where they have these branded workouts that pop up every so often where you can track kind of your benchmarks over a period of time.
I showed up once. I was going to go after work and I could never get into this class. And I got into the class. I'm like, I'm just going to go and show up. And I showed up and the coach was like, today's the 2,000 meter rowing benchmark. And I was like, oh my gosh, no clue. But it was too late to leave. So that one now
That's
is
a
near
hard
and dear to my
one.
heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was
Forced.
not a fun surprise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the 2,000 meter.
Yeah, benchmark.
Yes.
I like the mile benchmark. I feel like that is always like, you're just trying so hard that, I mean, I never will be what I once was, but always trying to.
Yeah, for running, that's mainly my focus when I go to an Orange Theory class. So Catch Me If You Can is my favorite.
Love
Greg
it.
likes that one.
At some point, I got to go back and see if I can really beat it, because it's also the video game in person in me going back to Nintendo. It's like the ultimate video
You're
game.
getting chased.
Yeah, being chased. Like, can you get to the final level and beat the
flag.
boss?
Hard.
It's like the Donkey Kong game, but on a treadmill, basically.
I used
I'm
to
gonna think
like
of that.
on like Thanksgiving and Christmas when you did like the 3 partner
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Like it was
A
I
different
liked
like
that.
challenge. I know. I
Yeah.
feel like we haven't had something like that in a long time.
Yeah.
Like now they do like capture the flag and like certain team things like
Everest
that.
and all- Yeah.
Can we put a request in,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Jackie?
So the other thing we've also talked a lot about is wellness. With me sitting in the chair, having you with sharp instruments in your hands. And I've talked a lot about fixed wellness and beauty with both of you. And shout out to Anna Kintz. And if you ever want to shop at Fixed Wellness and Beauty, by the way, shameless plug, use my code ALEC10, which I've given to both of you.
Yes.
But we've talked about creatine, collagen, a lot of these supplements, and again, a lot of men and women have these questions. So how do you approach them for yourselves when you're thinking through like what kinds of things you want to add into your own wellness routine?
I've actually been working with Coach Julie with nutrition stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
and
They do
trying
that.
Things. Yes, it's great. And she's given me a lot of info about protein and supplements, or what to eat and how much to eat and the macros and all that, because I never understood it. And it was tricky at first for me to grasp. But then it's like baby steps. So just like we don't expect somebody that's never brushed and flossed to do it now, like 7 days a week, 3 times a day. I'm not used to all that. I need to start to build on that. And then once I get the hang of it, I can add other things in. So like the collagen or the creatine or the other supplements that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Is that baby steps, adding it in so that I keep it up and actually do it.
Yeah. I use my FitnessPal app too to track things and see the macros too. Just with like the stage I'm in now with a little baby and nursing and all of that, like it's hard to be too restrictive. So I'm trying to give myself some grace on that. But at some point I would like to do that too, like get some professional guidance on nutrition.
I think it's awesome that a lot of gyms, whether it's Orange Theory or Metabolic, have built out programming to really help people with that one-on-one type support. Because so many people have those questions. Like a lot of the things I've learned, I've just had to develop that knowledge over time. And some of that has come from wellness people, medical people, fitness people. But I think it's cool that you're sharing this, and I appreciate you sharing it, because as very well-educated, smart, successful women, you have a lot of things going on, but yet you're still dealing with these real questions that can be very overwhelming for a lot of people. Any success stories so far based on what you've been working on?
I just feel better.
Yeah.
Like,
you look great.
Oh, thanks.
Your sister.
Thanks. I just feel better. And I have more energy. Like I used to drag at the end of the day. And I'm not saying I'm not tired at the end of the day, but it's a different type of tired. I feel better too, like with my arthritis for the most part. But and then my head is just it just feels better at the end of the day. That's all I can say, I guess. Yeah, I've got more clarity.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And thinking back now to oral health, because I wanted to transition back into that. What are the biggest misconceptions about oral health you think might exist? Just a reason why I'm asking is because going back to that fear, that anxiety that a lot of people have, a lot of people conveniently seem to make excuses about not going because they don't necessarily think of it as going to the doctor, that it's a luxury. But from your minds, like, why is it really important for people to actually have regular dental care?
Right. I do think that people have that misconception that like if they're brushing and flossing at home, like they don't hurt. Right, if it doesn't hurt, like that they don't need a professional cleaning, not realizing like how thorough we are at our cleanings and how thorough the hygienists are, how important it is to have x-rays and an exam. Like you said, just because it doesn't hurt, they think everything's just fine, or they don't have any bleeding, or they're just doing what we all think we're supposed to do.
Yeah, or they'll be like, well, this bleeds all the time. That's normal.
That's normal.
Well, it's not normal for something to bleed all the time. Or I think people have a misconception that dentistry has to hurt. It's going to hurt. It doesn't have to hurt. Like we can keep you comfortable. We want you to be comfortable. We don't want it to get to the point where it's going to hurt, because that's not good either. And that, prevention is a lot cheaper and a lot easier and a lot more comfortable than having to do other things. Yes.
Right. Investing in it early.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be a little vulnerable with my own dental journey because it's been something that I was bad about, in the same way I've worked to prioritize my fitness. There are a lot of these habits go together. And I've seen, as I've continued to advance on my own fitness journey, now it's the same motivation. It's like, okay, like let's get some of the dental stuff really situated right. And I was not taking care of my teeth the way I should have. And so it's partly why I wanted to come to you and get some stuff taken care of. And I wanted to share this story because I think it's something that would be great for people to know. I recently had a major dental emergency, and it became a much bigger one than it originally was. And I was on the phone with your office in real time, basically begging and pleading to find a way to get into a real oral surgeon, because I needed that tooth pulled. And I want to thank you publicly for really helping me make sure I could get in. I mean, I had to go up to Queensbury, shout out to Queensbury, but still it was like, I thought my head was going to explode.
It's not a good feeling.
It's not.
No. And so I can't be enough of an advocate for people to actually do all these basic things to avoid those major problems that obviously are also more expensive to deal with. So why actually is it so important to floss? Like when you talk about with me, like, you really need to floss every day. Like, why is that actually really important?
Yeah. Well, I remember hearing like, it's like only painting like two sides of your house when you're just brushing and you're not flossing. In order to get to that bacteria that's in between the teeth where toothbrush bristles can't reach, no matter how many products are out there that they advertise, water pick, that's a water flosser. That's good for certain things like spaces. But to get in between that tight contact where your teeth touch and remove that bacteria, which can lead to getting cavities or maybe gum disease, you have to get in there with regular string floss.
Yeah, the bacteria that's in your mouth, they find in your bloodstream, sometimes in the plaque, in your arteries and things like that. So the mouth is connected to the rest of the body, which people forget. And they've linked, poor oral health to so many other diseases out there. So you want to make sure, too, that you don't have infection, that you don't have disease. So your energy's not going to fighting that off. So your energy can go elsewhere to help your body heal. But like you said, it's not fun to have those issues at all, and we try to prevent it, and sometimes it happens and it couldn't have been prevented. It's a thing that happens, but we can get you help before it becomes urgent
and painful,
awful pain.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'm also trying to pass the Jerry Seinfeld test too. I want to make sure I can, be up to the moment when the time is right. But I wanted to ask you as well, when you think about fluoride, that's become a major public health issue. RFK was really all about it. It became a bigger discussion, even in the presidential election to some degree. What's your take on it?
It's good. In the right dosage, it's great. Because a lot of these kids that need it and that access it, even adults, they might not have access to it in another way, shape, or form. But the problem, too, today is who's really drinking all this tap water? Not many people. We're drinking water out of bottles or it's filtered. I just don't see it as a bad thing.
Agreed.
Fluoride's good in the right dose for everybody. Yes.
Are there any particular foods that are better or worse? I mean, there's foods that are worse, but is there anything overall diet that is linked to just improved oral health as a whole?
Oh, xylitol. It's a good.
You'll see that in like certain gums.
Yeah, but you have to have a lot of it for it to make a difference. Things that neutralize your mouth, like cheese. They say if you
dairy.
Can't brush after something, you can have cheese to try to neutralize.
If you don't have your toothbrush, you got your cheese.
Yes. We did a thing with like the kids in school, like good foods, bad foods, or healthy foods for your teeth, and obviously, like the sports drinks, acidic things, sticky things that are going to be staying on your teeth and in those grooves for a long period of time aren't great. But the takeaway for these kids is you can have all these things in moderation, not all day long, but you want to brush and floss and take care of yourself afterwards. We're not looking to perfection. Ruin your fun. No.
I'm a coffee girl. I'm a sweets girl. I'll be honest.
Yeah, we're not looking to take that away.
Yeah.
But
if I boil down my fitness goal to washboard abs, my dental goal is probably just like really have like mint teeth, like pearly white, all the things, like kind of deal with any sort of cosmetic issues. I've got a long-term plan with you guys to do that. But with cosmetic dentistry, I know that's part of your practice, and shout out to Danny again, because he's been doing a cool series documenting his journey with Invisalign. Can you talk? Great. Yeah, he's killing. He's looking good.
Yes.
But can you talk to me about your cosmetic dentistry and what those services are that you offer?
Sure. Yeah. So I do offer Invisalign. I think I've been offering it for maybe like a year and a half now. So those are clear aligners that patients wear. We take photos of their mouth. We do a digital scan of their mouth, and then we upload it to the Invisalign website, and I go back and forth on a treatment plan that I think fits the patient's needs and wants. And once we agree to it, it's that series of clear aligners. Sometimes we put little buttons on their teeth that act as little like anchors and handles for the trays. And ultimately over the course of that treatment, hopefully we're ending up with a nice straight smile that the patient's looking for. And it often improves function too, and improves bite, and just how everything comes together.
So what's the length of time from cradle to the grave or birth, start to finish of it?
It varies. I mean, sometimes it's as short as just several months. Some people, it might be more like a year and a half or two, depending on the amount of movement we have. But I like to just keep on going until the patient is super happy with the results.
Now, as part of your practice, you kind of pointed to her with cosmetic dentistry, and that lends me to a question. As you both have continued to evolve as sisters, as business partners, do you have different areas of dentistry that are more interesting to you that you kind of divide and conquer on?
I think we both don't like the same things too.
Yes. Yeah, no, she's been killing it with the Invisalign. We both do like, veneers, crowns, bonding,
implants.
Whitening. Yep, implant restorations. So we like that. We've been doing like a lot of bigger implant cases or some sedation cases for special needs patients. And I've really enjoyed that. But the great thing about general dentistry is we get to do it all. And so that keeps things interesting and fun. And no case, we could do the same filling on the same tooth all day long, but each patient's going to be different. So it keeps it exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. But
very exciting.
I think we have evolved with like our technology and the way we approach things. And that's kept it exciting and fun and re-energizes you for sure.
All right, so I want to transition more so to some get to know you questions because I had some fun picking your brains before we walked in here. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't have a television in your lobby?
No, we don't.
If you did, what would each of your channels be that the television would be set to?
Oh,
Bravo.
You would.
But I don't know if it'd be patient appropriate.
Yeah.
But a lot of our patients love Housewives and Bravo and Southern Charm, and we talk about that too.
Yeah, that is fun.
Yeah.
I'm a big news fan.
See, I don't want to hear the news.
No, I would say like HGTV maybe. I'm a big like Joanna Gaines fan. I think that's like relaxing for people.
HGTV seems like a politically safe answer for a medical office.
Yeah. What about Bravo?
Yeah.
Bravo is a bit of a wild
spicy.
card, depending on, even though I did meet Heather Thompson at a wellness event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Saratoga. It was fun.
Cool.
I did like an April Fool's gag that she and I were going to be working together if I was going to be a consulting producer.
Yeah.
Yes.
But she's a brand ambassador for Dubois Beauty. And shout out to Denise Dubois, who's been a great friend to me on my journey as well.
That's awesome.
But I met her there and we had a really cool conversation about wellness. So you both being women, you mentioned that you are part of like different women's professional networking groups. And I had mentioned Dr. Carrie Deo and shout out to her, who I'm hopefully having on the show soon too.
Awesome.
What's it like for you to network with other women who are also medical professionals in the Capital Region?
It's great. And we belong to 518 Get Together through Gabby, Jess, and Rachel. And it's a great community of women. But it's just nice to know that people are facing, the same challenges and how to work through those and what their take on it is and just resources to bounce other ideas off of that we're having.
Yeah, we've made some great friends through that and great connections.
Yep.
Yeah, I think for me, partly having both of you on, having my doctor, Shiv, shout out to Shiv, Dr. Deo, Carrie, on is highlighting my medical team in the part because I really believe with all my heart that when you set foot on any type of fitness or wellness journey, it's a lot easier when you have a village around you. So you don't feel alone in it, because when you start prioritizing all these things, it's a snowball effect where you want to do more. And I find the same questions that you would have for me about some of like the fitness or wellness stuff a lot of people have. I get asked, who's my dentist or who's my doctor or who's my chiropractor? Because I think you need all these things. So as you network with each other, what kinds of conversations are happening potentially about how could you collaborate, or even just knowing who somebody is to refer a patient to somebody?
Well, that's exactly the thing, is building a network, and we're not on an island by ourselves. We're connected to the rest of the body. So we have to talk to people that deal with the rest of the body. So we've sent patients over to Cairo for, TMJ and some head and neck work. We've sent patients to a myofascial therapist that's in our group that does phenomenal work. But it's a collaborative effort between all of us. And same thing with traditional medicine, like ENT, or we have to talk to people.
Acupuncture.
Cardiologists.
Yep.
It's putting all of the pieces together for the patient to come up with what's best for them.
It's a big puzzle.
Yes. But it is great bouncing ideas off of them, or some of them have come and presented like to our dental society or helped us with continuing education topics. So it is collaborating about what's going on in our patient's body, not just their mouth.
Yeah, and some of these people are just so creative and just think differently than we do, like in a science realm. So they've helped just kind of solve some issues for us and just help us out.
So touching on insurance, I wanted to ask you both about you both give me this look.
Have, Alex?
I know. Well, it's everybody's favorite topic, but this is why I wanted to ask you this, because a lot of people, they're always thinking, well, does my insurance cover it? Do they not? And I know you have opinions about this, and I'm curious really what they are. What is your take on health insurance as a concept, and how have you approached working with patients the way that you do right now?
Dental insurance is not true insurance. It's like if you have, car insurance, God forbid you get into a car accident and your car gets totaled, you're getting full coverage on that usually. Okay. If your mouth got totaled in an accident, you might get $2,000 from your insurance company because that's the max. That's not going to fix anything. So we explain it like it's a prepaid gift card that you're getting. And sometimes you make out with it and sometimes you don't. Some people pay more for their insurance than they actually get from it. So a lot of our patients don't
not to have
insurance. They just put money away and towards a dental plan on their own.
Yeah.
But your insurance company does not care what happens to you. So they might not agree with our decision because it doesn't benefit them financially. But I'm not treating you as, a claim number and as, what I'm going to get for this amount of insurance that we're doing things on your mouth that you need. So I get very worked up about it because it's not fair to the patient. So I don't care what I want your insurance to help you. I want you to get what you can out of the insurance, but I don't care what they said is the right thing. And that's what I write in our appeal letters. Like, what would you want done for your mouth if this was your mouth or your mom's mouth?
We really lay into them on our narratives that we'll write to appeal their decisions. Denied.
Yes. And it's not fair to the patient. So we do what's right for the patient. And
not what insurance is.
Yes. And hope that the insurance will help them towards a portion of it.
Now, I know you specifically do advocacy work and you've done some on-camera testimonials with the Dental Association advocating for their priorities. So how can we actually treat dental care more so as traditional primary health care?
We've got to get better coverage and just better awareness. That's what the American Dental Association and our state and local try to do, is raise awareness politically, but also in the public realm about just how important oral health care is. And then, we need a whole revamp of our medical system here. So if you gave us a couple weeks off and somebody took the kids for a couple weeks, I'm sure we could
figure it out.
But it's just educating the population on how important oral health care is. And I think in Massachusetts, Delta Dental was sued, and now they have to provide more of that premium towards patient care and not just towards their CEOs. So I'm hoping that other states will follow suit and insurance will start to pay a little bit better for patients and cover more things.
Do you have any of these conversations with like the mental health community? Because it's the same dynamic with a lot of mental health. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Shout out to mental health and all the serious issues that need to be talked about more.
Yes, absolutely.
And I have a lot of episodes that I'm planning on, some that will have already aired or been dropped by this point, where we get into some mental health issues, particularly with men. I love talking about how men can be better in terms of healthy masculinity. And it's certainly not a return to any type of toxic masculinity, but helping men to be more responsible, more structured, more able to come up to the level where I think a lot of women are. A lot of women are crushing it. The way that you talk about networking with each other, every other day I find out about some new cool group that is very intentionally for women in
girl gangs.
Girl gangs killing it, but there just really isn't that type of culture for men. So I'm curious with your patients, do you see any of those dynamics where it's easier for women to come into the office versus men at all, or not really?
I do think a lot of women will say like that they're looking for a female provider.
Yeah.
I think that's very common.
Yes. And I think women are more open to saying like, I'm nervous, I'm scared, and this is why. Men will too, but I feel like women more so. But the touching on the mental health aspect is, I didn't have any mental health training for patients in dental school. I don't know
not much
if you did. And so that's one of the things we keep talking about and seeing is we do have patients who are struggling, and we ask them like, do you need help? Do you want us to connect you with somebody? And it's like, how do we approach that safely for them and for us? And then once they say, yes, they need help. Okay, well now what do I do? Like we've a couple times have contacted providers and they're like, well, I'm not taking new patients or I'm booking a year out. So it's how do we get people the mental health resources
access to it
that they need, which is a big conversation.
Well, you have that lens in your practice. We talked about kind of the way you approach people psychologically, helping them to feel more comfortable, even having that mind-body connection. I mean, I love when I go in because I just, you know, your great team that is there is always asking, do you want this? Do you want this? And I'm like, yes. I'll take a blanket. What else do you have?
Yeah.
Do you have cafe au lait? Like, what do you got for me?
Your daughter.
But you bring that lens into your practice, which is cool. I jokingly think of the guys that I know who most of the time they're being dragged to the dentist by their girlfriends or their spouses being like,
there's some of those.
When's the last time you went?
Yes. Yep.
We got to get you in there.
Yeah. We see that a lot.
Yeah, the girls tend to be like the scouts, and then they report back.
Yes.
Okay, it's safe to tell my husband to come in or my boyfriend to come in. Yeah. So what's your hope for your practice as you look to grow it? What type of impact would you like to make in the capital region, thinking that you're both homegrown
518ers?
518ers.
For life. Yes.
Yeah.
I say this every time, and I'm proud, and what I want to continue is the relationships that we have with our patients and our team. Where now we're seeing patients that I saw when they were kids, they're now getting married or they're having kids, they're graduating. Yeah. We follow people through their lives, like the good and the bad. And it's just nice knowing that they trust us and they come in and I'm so happy to see you today. And they like coming in, they look forward to it, they're comfortable. I like seeing patients that they were so scared to come in the first visit and now they just sit in the chair and they're ready to go. They're comfortable. But it's the relationships that we have, like the trust and just being like truly like family and great friends.
Right.
And that's what I just hope continues.
Yes. And I agree. I think especially now, like there's big changes in the dental world where we see a lot of places that were small mom and pop groups that have now become corporate offices. So just never losing that like personal family touch that we have.
I just love that you're sisters. And I've been thinking about that the whole time in this conversation. Like I didn't know. But one tension point, which I do want to touch on in all seriousness before we end, is you have not seen White Lotus.
I'm so sorry. I'm waiting to get the HBO password.
I'll get on that right now. I know.
I've heard great things and I want to see it.
Yeah.
That's going to have to be a whole nother
I'll
episode.
put that on my agenda.
Yeah.
So let me close this out with a sister competition.
Uh-oh.
You haven't seen White Lotus, but can you each give your best Southern impression of the line reading, Piper, no.
Piper, no. That was English. Piper. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
I can't. I dared her to say a phrase. I dared her to
I
say
got
it
in the last moment.
and she did. That was pretty good.
All right, it's your turn.
Piper, no.
Piper, no. Why am I English? You can't stop.
Yeah, and a tsunami.
Maybe after I see it, I'll have a better take on it.
Yes. Yeah.
We'll do
English?
We'll do a follow-up
Piper,
episode where we
no.
just do line readings from White Lotus.
Okay.
I'm down.
Right.
How long is this going to take me, you think, to catch up?
A day. If you work hard.
Can I have tomorrow off?
Yeah.
You'll get into it. All right, let me give you one I know you can crush. I know you're a Bills fan.
Go Bills.
Oh.
A little more energy than that.
Yeah.
Go Bills. Hey.
On that note,
this girl.
Kendra Zappia, Morgan Fryer, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. This was fun. Yeah.